Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Live and Loud with the Lord. Nelson, that is. And we have a super great guest. I could probably talk about this young man for the next 30, 40, 50 years, you know, what he means to me and his accomplishments in music and what we're doing, which is just super dope, is my partner in crime, guitarist, I don't know, I'm searching for words. Usually I just let them roll, man. Listen,
crazy.
No, I'm not crazy. I'm just saying, we'll get into it through all the stuff we're going to talk about. But ladies and gentlemen, and God dog, man, I'm looking for, I call him the Magnificent Matt Acevedo, right?
That's it. That's what
Magnificent Matt Acevedo. But I'm looking for other words to describe this young man because he's really that great. But anyway, we're going to get into it as I get into the questions and everything. So ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Matt Acevedo.
Thanks for having me, brother.
It's me. I'm gonna clap you up. Now, Matt, usually I ask the first question. I ask people where they're from, but I'm gonna hold off on that for a sec. So I saw something. I did a little digging. So you make jewelry?
I do make jewelry. You did do some digging.
Talk to me about this jewelry making.
And that is not the question I expected you to ask.
Talk to me about this jewelry making, man, before we get into this music, man.
You know, it's the craziest thing with this pandemic and all that. You know, you're locked in. We were locked in the house forever. My wife, she's got some health issues, so you know we have to be extra careful. Okay. So we were just trying to figure out things that we can do together. Mm-hmm. So we start watching crazy stuff on YouTube, and you go down the rabbit hole of this, that, and the other thing. And we found this guy who was cutting Australian opals. Mm. And it was the coolest thing to watch him go from just this rock that they dug out of the ground to this beautiful, beautiful sparkling stone, right? So we just decided we're gonna do that. So we just, I got myself a rock polisher, and I got some, and started watching some videos, and next thing you know, man, we were ordering stuff, and I'm cutting stones and making jewelry for people for Christmas. It's it's
really?
therapeutic, man.
I didn't know. Maybe you were in the diamond mines of Africa doing work. I didn't know. I was like, let me ask. You know, this might be something serious. All right. I just had to ask that question. And so, you are an amazing musician, and I know this firsthand. So tell us what it is about music that excited you to make it a career.
Wow, man, great question. You know, I latched on to guitar relatively early. I started out playing bass, but once I got to be a teenager, you know, decided it was way cooler to play guitar. So tried learning how to do that and started down that road. And once I just started learning, man, I couldn't tell you. I've never put it down. Since I picked it up, I've never put it down. And, you know, anybody that's close to me will tell you, if there's a day that goes by that I don't have one in my hand, there's a problem usually. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and you know from what we do that I'm always playing, I'm always trying to do something. But I don't know, man. You know, I picked it up because I wanted to be Eddie Van Halen, like everybody that was my age when, you know, learning how to play guitar. Right. And like I say, man, it just got me. And I just always wanted to play, you know, and even when I was doing the local band thing and all of that, it was because I was having a good time, you know, and that was always the thing. As long as I was having a good time, I was down with it, even if I wasn't making much money at it. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. So that was it. It was one of those things where I was going to do it regardless. You know, if it got me everywhere, if it got me nowhere. Right. You know.
Oh, love, man. Love. So, what instruments do you play? Because I liken you to like Prince. I mean, you do it all for, I'm just saying. Hey,
thank
listen,
you.
I'm just saying, you can play. I mean, so other than guitar, do you what else do you play?
Well, let's just say I play at a lot of things. I'm a decent bass player. I make my way okay as a bass player. Um, I fumble my way around keys enough to do what I need done. I wouldn't consider myself a keyboard player by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay.
Um, I do a lot of drum programming with what we do. I play drums, but not like what we do. You know what I mean? I'm a very basic drummer. I can keep a beat. I'm okay, but that's about as far as it goes.
So guitar's your main thing.
Guitars, yeah. Since the teens, guitar's been my main thing.
And then
past that, it's just been a matter of once I got the studio set up and everything, and realized that I wanted to do it all myself. I had to figure out how to do it all myself. You know what I mean? It's just way easier it was way easier to do that than to have to keep, 3, 4, 5 people all in the same mindset and all that kind of thing. And I could do what I do. And if everybody else dug it, right on. If not, that's still what I do.
That's why I think we connect so much, man, because I think we're in that same mind frame. And you said something. So, of course, I told you I was supposed to have Kurt. I'm still going to ask Kurt this question. I had a specific question for Kurt. Kurt Taylor. But I want to ask you this because you kind of touched on it. Guitars. You got your lead guitar, which is what you play. You also play rhythm, I guess also. Not I guess, you do. And then you were speaking about the bass. So is it hard to go from the transition from lead to bass or bass to lead? Is it that much easier to play a bass guitar? Why do people who play bass always catch hell from everybody?
I don't know, because a good bass player, man, they're few and far between. It's not as easy as anybody can just ride a root note, but that doesn't make a bass player. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a different thing. With guitar, I feel like I can just do whatever I want to do and go crazy in whatever direction I want to. With the bass, it's the rhythm section, so you gotta lock in with the drums, one way or another.
Okay.
So it's a little different mindset, but then it's still a matter of what comes first. Sometimes my bass line will come first. Sometimes I've already got a guitar riff in mind. So I don't think that. My bass playing is probably easier than my guitar playing, but that's only because I'm not as talented a bass player as some.
Got you.
But like I say, a good bass player, I don't think it's any less difficult than being a good guitar player.
Yeah, there's a question when I get Sean Delson finally on here, or my boy Raz, I want to ask them those questions, man. I really want to know. I really want to know. So I just thought about that, and I said I got to ask you. That's an extra question. It's an extra question. Okay, so are you self-taught, or did you go to school for music?
My first instrument was the stand-up double bass in orchestra in middle school.
Boom, boom.
So I learned to read music then, and played for a few years that way. Then that's when I went over to guitar. Now, once I took up guitar, I really learned out of books and magazines more than anything, and I don't really recommend it. If you can, if you can get a good teacher, get a good teacher, because you're going to learn some bad habits, and it's going to take you a lot longer than it should probably. But pretty much self-taught.
Okay, that's real what you just said. It might take a little bit longer, if you're doing it yourself, other than being taught from people who know it. That was a great answer, man. So you're originally from New York? The borough of Brooklyn. No sleep till. So tell us a little bit about that and how you ended up in Texas.
All right. Born in Brooklyn. My father worked for American Airlines out of LaGuardia Airport, and ended up getting transferred down to DFW Airport. That's how we ended up in Texas. So did some growing up in New York there for a while, but I did a lot of bouncing back and forth. Always had relatives there. Since my father worked for American Airlines, I'd fly back and forth pretty much every summer and go stay with family and that kind of thing. But that's how we ended up here. He worked for the airlines.
So what do you miss about New York though? Everybody who's from New York, I'll always have it in my mind what New York is, because me being a young dude, like I'm from Charleston once again. And so, you know, some of my cousins and family, a lot of my family, my aunts and uncles and cousins, you know, they were in New York and then they'd come back down for the summer. So, you know, I mean, there was a lot of people in Charleston that were in New York and vice versa. So,
Gotcha.
So what was good about it when you were there that you enjoyed so much about the city? About your borough, or you know?
Yeah, it was it was very tight knit, you know, for the neighborhood. Everybody will look out for each other. And it was you know, even back then, for as old as I am, it was pretty multicultural, you know. So I mean, nobody cared, you know, what your creed, your religion, anything like that. You know, you look out for me, I look out for you.
Got you.
And you know, yeah, I think that's it. I don't know. There's something, and maybe it's just because it was my younger time in my life, but there's just something just super nostalgic about it. I went back probably about 5 years ago. I flew back for the first time in forever, and just went to the city like a tourist, like everybody else, and you know, went back to Brooklyn, went back to my old borough, and saw my old apartment building and all that stuff. And man, it was crazy.
So how much has it changed since you've been there?
You know, the city itself doesn't change much as much as the people do, I think. Now, where, like I said, my neighborhood was very multicultural and that kind of thing, it had shifted quite a bit when I was there. What used to be just all kinds of stores were a lot of Russian stores and things like that. My neighborhood had turned into kind of like a Russian borough.
Really?
So yeah, that was kind of interesting. But I tell you what, the coolest candy store I ever went in was a Russian candy store over there. that was pretty awesome.
Oh my goodness, man. So last question about that. So you lived in an apartment building. So how much of a difference is it that to where, like, now you're in Texas where it's like it's expansive, there's land everywhere, there's you know, trees and everything. You know, I know New York, listen, New York State has a lot of trees and stuff once you get outside the city. But do you like how you live now, or remembering when, I know you were younger, but how was that feeling?
Yeah, and you know, I would in my I always thought, I guess when I was away from it as a kid, oh, I'm gonna get back there, I want to go, I'm gonna move back, that kind of thing. Now as an adult, I love to visit, but man, it's a little too crazy for me there now. I mean, where I am now, I'm just north of Dallas. So kind of you know, sleepy little neighborhood, very unassuming. So I like it here. I like where I am now.
Yeah, Eric Sanders kind of said the same thing. He's just like, he said, I wouldn't want to move back there. He said, I love New York, but I wouldn't want to move.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, not to mention, it's, you know, who can afford to live there?
Right. Well, you know, I watch what's the real estate show where, you know, up in New York. I love the show. Yeah. So next one, if you wouldn't mind, please tell the story how you and I got together and formed Plastic Catastrophe.
This is a good one. Well, I'm a Mojo fan.
Mojo,
been a Mojo fan from way back. Whole 9 yards, man. You know, and I found you probably about, I don't know, I'm gonna say it's been a minute. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago on Facebook. And just threw you a friend request. I started following what you did because you were, I noticed you were the king of promotion, man.
I was having fun.
You were always had something going on, and I had mad respect for that. But I was checking all your stuff out, you know, and we would chat just very, very, you know, not that we were friends, but, you know, we would hit each other back and forth. I had a project at the time with a good friend of mine from New York, as a matter of fact. It was another little, this was a 2-man kind of techno metal thing that we were doing called Virtual Chaos. And I had sent, you had just done the video with Seb. I forget what song it was, but it was the animated video.
Yeah. Still Alive.
Yes. And you had just put that out, and I was digging on that. And we had just done a video for a track that we were doing. And I sent it to you, and I just said, hey man, if you dig this, if you feel like sharing it, you know, we would appreciate it. And you did.
Right.
And I thought that was super cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, like you already know now, I was, even then I was just constantly writing stuff, always I had my little studio going on, and was kind of doing the one man thing. So I always had something going on.
Right.
And I had a track, and my wife was kind of telling me, hey, you should see if Lloyd wants to do anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I hit you up, and just I didn't want to just send you something cold. So I sent you a text, and I just said, hey, I've got some music. Don't know if you're interested. Don't know if you're bound to anything, contractually or anything like that.
Right.
But if you want to check it out, let me know. And you said, yeah, let me check it out. So I sent it to you, and I never heard anything. So, like about 6 months later, right? I won't be defeated. I got another track, right? And my wife's going, this is the one. This is the one, And I'm like, yeah, I think I could really hear you. I could really hear you doing something over it.
Right.
And I did the same thing again, man. I just went, hey, I got a piece of music. Don't know if you'd be interested. And you said the same thing. Yeah, let me check it out. And I sent it over. And that turned out to be Action. That turned out to be our first track.
Listen, I'm laughing because I probably had a lot of stuff going on at the time. And usually if I tell you to send me something, whoever it is, if I tell you to send me something, I'm definitely going to listen to it. And so I kind of remember it. It's like I said to myself, once we started doing things, I was like, where is that track that Matt sent me? I've got, emails here, there. I was like, I don't know. But look, perseverance pays off, and now look at the great things that we're doing, man. So I appreciate you hitting me back, and thanks to your wife for saying like, hey man, send something to the guy, man. Send something.
Man, no way. Like I said, man, I had followed you at that point, man. We had been yakking and following each other on Facebook for a year or so at that point, man. I knew you weren't blowing anybody off. I knew you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, no. As my brother-in-law said, I like to keep it real and stay true to the game as much as possible. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm truly a humble person. Now I'll get out there. I mean, I know who I am. I know. Yes,
sir.
I know.
Right.
But
so does everybody else.
Love, man. Hey, I don't even know that, man. It's good. So, what is your production and playing style? Were you influenced by the greats of metal, or are you just a lover of music and sonics? And the reason I'm asking is because I hear so many dope elements in there. It seems you're a fan of many genres. I know that's a loaded question.
Yeah. No, for sure, definitely. I can tell you, I grew up on a whole lot of hip hop. Run DMC and the Beasties and Curtis Blow and a bunch of old school guys, and then West Coast with Eazy-E and NWA and that kind of thing. I mean, so I was all into that, and about the same time I was really trying to learn how to play guitar.
Gotcha.
So I'm sure it is just a mix of just craziness that has come together. I remember the first time I heard Rage Against the Machine back in '91 or whatever, when they first put their first album out, I was just like, that's that. I want to do something like that. What I mean? And we even at that point we were actively looking in the band that I had, trying to get a live DJ in, and it never got off the ground. But totally, man. I when I moved here to Texas, I worked at local music stores selling guitars and all that good stuff. Yeah, and so there were 2 guitar teachers and a bass teacher that worked there. And I would mooch off of those guys any chance that I got to be able to have them show me something. You know what I mean? But a lot of blues here. You know what I mean? A lot of Stevie Ray and that kind of thing. So, and even when you go into guys like Dime, super bluesy player, even for a metal player like he was,
Right.
super bluesy player. So a lot of blues here in Texas. So I'm sure that gets intertwined into stuff as well. Yeah, I'm like you, man. I'm a music fan. If it
Yeah.
speaks to me, it's good. That's all that
Yeah,
matters.
you talk about blues, man, and like I'm in the South, but that's like the South,
Yeah.
We're all the South, but that's the South, man. It's just like my wife's from Mississippi, and so I remember going down there the first time. I was just like, man, they play a lot of blues here. And then when you look at the Rolling Stones and Eric Clapton and all those guys over there, they were into the the Howling Wolves and the Muddy Waters and all those people like that. The blues,
in the blues,
the blues kind of drove them to I mean it's amazing. It's amazing.
Sure.
So I feel you, man. No, the music's always great, man. It's always great, man. Definitely. So let's talk about the Fire Started Out on M&O Music, what we are. So I know it's gonna be hard. What's your favorite song or songs? But first, for me, talk about the inspiration for Pandemic.
Pandemic. Yeah, Pandemic was a little different because it was one of those tracks that first of all, the pandemic, what can you say about the pandemic? Everybody went through it. You may have gone through it different than the guy next to you,
right,
but everybody went through it. Everybody's going through it, and it's hard. It's been hard. So I about the time that track was coming around, I had just lost my uncle and my godfather.
Right.
He lived in New York to COVID, and I'm not really a lyric kind of guy most of the time. As much music as I do, I wish I could write lyrics, but I've just I've really got to concentrate to write lyrics. It's not something that just comes easy for me.
Right.
But this was something that I felt like I needed to do, maybe just to kind of heal a little bit, you know what I mean? And it was at, like I said, during the height of the pandemic. I was actually working from home, so I had a lot of time in my studio because I was working from home.
Right.
And it just started coming together, and I think I put the whole song together in about 3 days, music and all. It was one of those things where once it started pouring, it just kind of all came out. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
And it worked out really well because I wanted you to be on it, if you were feeling it. So I structured it out to where I had some space, you had some space if you were feeling it, and sent it to you, and of course you did. And
I didn't blow you off on that one.
You did not, sir.
Pause, ladies and
gentlemen.
Pause. Do some Dave Dash to pause. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. But yeah, like I said, yeah, it's weird because I'm super proud of it. I'm super proud of everything we do, everything we've done. But I'm proud of that one, and it's not easy to listen to all the time. It's some days I feel like I need to listen to it, and then some days it's kind of hard to listen to.
Nah, every time I'm in the vehicle and it comes on, man, because it's hitting, it's got that bottom to it.
Right.
I love it. What did I say to you when you said it to me? I was like, can I get on this, man? I mean, I see there's some parts. And then you were like, yeah, I left those parts open for you. I was just like, thank God. I was like, this is unbelievable.
Awesome.
But I've had a lot of people tell me how great that song is. And, you never know what people are going to like, man. So, just like the other songs, I don't want to judge people anymore about what people might like. We just going to put out what we know is good and great. And if they like it, love. And if they don't, okay, fine. Everything's not for everybody,
Absolutely correct.
But nah, man, that's an amazing song, man. And so what about the rest of the album? What else do you love on there?
Man, yeah, it all came together so crazy, man. My favorite, I really do like that joint that we did with Jay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Some of my Irish brothers. My boy Jag was like, Lord, man, I love that song, man. He said, I
Yeah, Heat
love it.
Seeker, man. It's a heater.
That
That's good. And the fire starters, that's a
yeah.
slamming track too.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I
What
love
about
it.
you?
I love everything on there, man. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, man. I love everything on there.
Man.
I'm just so thankful and grateful to have that vibe of it. And like one of my homeboys, I call him Cabo San. His name is Lucas, but I call him Cabo San Lucas. That's just me. I always come up with names with people. So he's listened to all the stuff that I've done. And when he heard it, he was just like, hey man. And he just went into it and he was just like, yo, he said it's just unbelievable. And I was just, I kind of get real humble about stuff like that because I feel like everything I do is great, but to have your peers come and say like, hey, that was amazing.
No question.
Or hey, that made me feel good. Or hey, this did this to me. I had a young lady today, while I'm sending out my stuff to people like, hey, look at the podcast or listen to the podcast. And she went out on my man Pierre's page. And she went to Pierre's page and then she saw the song Your Hair I did.
I remember that.
So she said, what's up with this song right here? I was like, well, I dive into many genres. I do a lot of things. She was just like, yeah. She's like, I love that song. Once again, you never know. You never know what's going to happen or what's going to touch people. So music is just like the best thing in the world, man. Man, I love music, man. And my wife always looks at me like, what's wrong with you? Are you listening to this country music or are you listening to this? You went from country to some death metal stuff or, what are you doing? I'm just like, it just hits me. If it's good, it's good. I say it all the time, but it's just a true statement, man.
Yeah,
if it's
man.
good,
You
it's
gotta
good.
meet my wife, man. She's got eclectic taste like you do, man.
Really?
I mean,
really?
You just never know what you're gonna hear coming out. She'll be banging Slipknot, then Beyonce, then Elton John.
Exactly.
I mean, you never know, man.
But see, each of those things that you just said, man. So my mind, I visualize, I really see things. Everything you're saying, I see it, and so. Each one of them popped up in my head. And, I know Elton John. And, oh, man, my goodness, man. Anyway, man, goodness. I love me. That just gives me chills, man. It gives me chills. So, it's a little special something because I've hit him up a couple of times. Maybe you're gonna have to get at him so he can get on the show. So let's give a shout out to your guitar supplier, Splon, and tell us what's great about playing a Splon guitar.
Man, really, it's Scott himself, the guy who makes him. He is just a super cool dude, man. He's I met him back in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
I had one of his amps, and I was on one of the Splon forums, and a bunch of us guys just decided we were going to gang up and go to North Carolina and just converge on him one weekend. Mm-hmm. And we did. We planned it, and man, he was so cool. Right. He had barbecue and just here just all these heathen guitar players banging around on his guitars and amps, and he accepted us with open arms. But
right.
Yeah, no, he's a really cool guy, man. And not to mention, he makes absolutely fantastic stuff. I highly recommend it. In fact, what is today? Thursday, day after tomorrow, new amp comes.
So let me ask you a question, because I'm sorry for cutting you off. I apologize. I want to ask a question. So I think that we were traveling. We did a little run here in the States, right? And I think Rich knows him.
Yeah, Rich played Splon for a while.
Yeah, so he's got the thing with the one when I saw yours, it's like the GT. I could have sworn that Rich bought two from him. And I thought we picked them up while we were on tour.
Yeah, I know he had a white one there for a while.
Yeah. So
white.
Yeah, so I was just like, hey man, that's like, wait a minute. It's got the same guy. Is that
same guy?
So. Okay, that's love. That's love. That's love.
And he's a small operation.
Yeah.
Takes care of business.
Right.
But super cool, modern shop, just small and just kind of out in the country. And yeah, very cool. If you can support a small guy who does a great job,
of course,
why not,
of course, no doubt, dope. All right, last question, or we might talk a little bit more on the last question. If you had a last request of a meal and an album, what would they be? He's gonna say a bagel, ladies and gentlemen. He wants a bagel from New York.
Bagels and lox are pretty good. Man, I'd probably have to go with good sushi.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Just one album. Vulgar Display of Power, Pantera.
Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's okay. Okay. Love. I don't know why I was thinking you were gonna say something else. I didn't really know what you were gonna say.
Yeah.
So why would you pick that album? What about that album?
That album changed my mind. That album kind of turned things from when that album came out, there was still a whole lot of glam and hair metal stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, I was playing it because most people in the metal scene did back then,
Right.
You know what I mean? And then that album came out, and I don't know, to me, it was just such a different direction. And it was so, I didn't want to be like Pantera, but I wanted something that had power like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? There was something about how that stuff just drove.
Mm-hmm.
And just carried you along.
Powerful.
Yeah, I wanted to make powerful music like
mm-hmm.
that. So that's kind of where I went. I think that's kind of where I went from rock to metal.
Okay.
Not that I have anything against rock, and I still play. I play a bunch of everything. But yeah, I kind of took a heavier direction right about then.
So is metal just heavier than rock? Is that just what it is?
I mean, I don't know. There's so many genres and so
right. There's so many genres. Right.
So I don't know. I guess I'm talking about the Metallica's, Anthrax's, and Panteras as opposed to the Bon Jovi's, Poisons, and Motley Crues of the day.
The more mainstream. The more mainstream could border on pop. Could border a little on pop a little bit. I got you. Yeah. I got you. Well, now. We were talking about you said like Rage Against the Machine. I remember a neighbor I had, Barry, back in the day, man, it's a few years ago now. But Barry was like, hey man, I know you're in the music, I know you're doing your thing. He said, Rage Against the Machine is gonna be in Charlotte, not with Public Enemy, with Wu-Tang Clan. And I was like, what? Because I love Wu-Tang. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah. So I love Bulls on Parade. Mm-hmm. Bulls on Parade was like my song. So I just remember going to the show, Barry and myself and a couple of my other friends, Goldie and Theory. And so here we go. We drive up there and we go in there, man. The Wu-Tang is doing their thing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Wu-Tang is, oh man, Wu-Tang's amazing. And then Rage comes on. The sound was so much louder. And I know, of course, it's a band playing, but it was so different. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So people are going crazy with Wu-Tang, but now they're going bananas, man. Wow. And everybody's jumping the fence. We were at with the Charlotte, the pavilion up there, and everybody was jumping the gates to get, and I was just like, man, don't go. Go. Then the security guard just looked at me like, you come across this fence.
Yeah, like he goes, stop you.
Hey, no, man. I was just like, yo, it's like he was keying on me because he could see me clearly. You know what I'm saying? All these little youngsters hopping the fence and gone, man. You know what we're gonna catch them. But man, it just took me to another place, man. It was so amazing. The music, and Zach was just on point, man. It was just beautiful, man. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget. It was a great show, man. It was a great show. I just had to go back there, man, because when you said talk about Rage, I just had my mind was gone.
Yes, sir.
So, is there anything you would like to talk about, sir?
Shoot, man! I was here to answer questions. I didn't have much prepared.
That's right. I am interviewing you. So, let's talk about what we got coming up, man. We're working on something. We're not gonna say too much, but how do you feel about the direction we're going in?
Man, it's banging.
We got some.
I'm proud of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something.
Powerful driving music I've been wanting to make. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. The Firestarters is a great album. This album is even greater than the Firestarters. Believe me when I tell you, Matt Acevedo, MMA, has taken it to another level. He has gone to another level, beyond top shelf, man. Okay, so you got God up here, right?
Oh, God, stop it.
No, feel me now, feel me. You got God up here, right? And then you got us here, and everybody else is down there. Hey, man, I'm just saying, man, we're at a level that I'm loving, man, and I'm loving everything that you said to me.
Yeah, man, it is
a beautiful thing, man.
It's so much fun, you know. It all comes so easy. It's such a good time to do. So I can't imagine what we'd do if we were in the same room together.
Oh man, I keep telling people, like, I had such a bond with Rich. Rich and I worked together. It was easy. It was easy. Seb and I, easy. Big Steve and I, easy. You, super easy, man. We are just connecting so much. It's just love. And the thing is that we respect and appreciate each other's talents. And that's an amazing thing. And I just love the way, you know, of course, you know, our boy Keith Neto, unbelievable. Listen, Keith was just like, hey guys, gotta do this. Anyway, we're gonna get it right. We're gonna do things right, man. We're gonna make things right. When it comes out, ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna be like, wow,
we're coming.
And like my son said, we're changing the world, baby.
That's right. That's right. Somebody's got to.
Yo, man. So once again, Matt, thank you so much for being here and just hanging out with your boy for a while. My partner in crime, ladies and gentlemen. But when I say crime, it's a good crime. And we're willing to do our time over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. We're gonna let the music lock you down. It's gonna lock you down, man. We're gonna do things, man. It's love. It's love. So once again, thank you so much, my brother. I really,
Thanks for having me, brother.
So ladies and gentlemen, once again, it is Live and Loud with the Lord. And what I say after that?
Nelson, that is.
God, dog it does. And our special guest, Mr. Matt Acevedo. Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Take care, man.
Be good. Peace.